Scott H. Young's book, Ultralearning, is a comprehensive guide to mastering difficult skills with extraordinary speed. Young has spent years studying the aggressive, self-directed learning strategies of some of the world's most successful ultralearners and distilling them into easy-to-apply principles that anyone can implement. Ultralearning is for anyone who wants to quickly master a new skill, future-proof their career, or practice work with intention and depth. The book begins with inspiring examples of people who have found success through the ultralearning strategy, such as Scott Young himself, who learned MIT's 4-year computer science curriculum in just 1 year without taking any classes. The principles of ultralearning can help you acquire skills for personal fulfillment or gain a professional edge. In a fast-paced world, it's more important than ever to adapt and retrain to stay relevant and competitive in the workplace. The most desired workers can master a variety of skills, from speaking multiple languages to understanding different computer programs. The book outlines 9 principles of ultralearning, including metalearning, learning how to learn, focus, directness, drill, retrieval, feedback, retention, intuition, and experimentation. By understanding and implementing these principles, you can create your own ultralearning project and achieve your goals in record time. Ultralearning is a valuable resource for anyone looking to unlock their full potential and become a more effective learner. With the right mindset and techniques, you can master difficult skills and achieve personal and professional success. Idea 1. Metalearning. Understanding how you learn best and creating a plan for your learning project. Learning a new skill can be a daunting task, but with proper planning and execution, it can be an exciting journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Metalearning, or learning how to learn, is a crucial step that must not be overlooked when embarking on a new learning project. The first step of metalearning is to ask yourself 3 key questions: why, what, and how. By understanding the purpose of your project and what you need to learn, you can create a roadmap or metalearning map that will help you achieve your goal. Breaking down your chosen subject into concepts, facts, and procedures will help you identify the key components of what you need to learn. From there, you can determine which procedures may be the most challenging and plan out how to overcome those obstacles. Flashcards, spaced repetition software, and other learning aids can be useful tools to enhance your memorization and make your learning process more efficient. It is also recommended to dedicate around 10% of your total learning time to metalearning. By taking the time to draw out your metalearning map and plan out your learning strategy, you can set yourself up for success and achieve your goal in mastering any new skill. Idea 2. Focus. Eliminating distractions and dedicating focused time to learning. Starting an ultralearning project can be daunting, but there are ways to overcome procrastination and distractions to achieve your goals. The first step is to trick yourself into starting your project by setting a short amount of time to work on it. This can help build momentum and create a sense of accomplishment, leading to longer work sessions. To maintain focus, it's important to eliminate distractions by turning off your cell phone or using noise-canceling headphones. Interleaving, the process of alternating between materials and modes of learning, can also be helpful in organizing your project. This involves chunking time into short sessions and focusing on different skill sets throughout each session. By implementing these techniques, you can become more productive and achieve your goals in your ultralearning project. Remember to stay committed and focused, and you will see the results of your hard work in no time. Idea 3. Directness. Learning by doing and practicing the skill directly. Lack of confidence can be a significant barrier to ultralearning, making it feel like the goal is out of reach. However, directness is the key to overcoming this hurdle. The most effective way to learn something is by doing it, which involves a hands-on application method, where learners can dive into what they want to learn. To practice directness in learning, ultralearners can use a project-based approach, such as building a website to learn how to code or speaking the language to learn a new language. Immersion is another way to practice directness, which involves creating an environment that replicates the real experience of what you want to learn. Although not everyone can move to another country to learn a language, there are many ways to manipulate the environment to get an immersive experience. For instance, one can replicate the flying experience through simulation, and learners can use tutors to teach them through speaking the language. In conclusion, the key to overcoming lack of confidence in ultralearning is to embrace directness. Dive straight into what you want to learn, use a hands-on project-based approach, and create an immersive environment that replicates the real experience. By applying these techniques, learners can gain the confidence they need to achieve their ultralearning goals. Idea 4. Drill. Repetitive practice to build and strengthen neural pathways. During your ultralearning journey, you may find yourself hitting a dead end or not progressing as quickly as you expected. This is a common hurdle that ultralearners face, but there are techniques to overcome it and keep moving forward. One powerful technique is drilling. Drilling involves breaking down the steps of your project and identifying where your progress is slowing down. Once you've identified the bottleneck, you can focus your practice on that specific step until you master it. This allows you to move forward in your project and unlock the next level of knowledge. There are different methods of drilling depending on the skill you're trying to master. For skills that can be isolated into one area, you can use the slicing technique, where you repeatedly practice that specific skill. For example, if you're learning a language and struggling with pronunciation, you would focus on practicing your pronunciation until you've mastered it. For more creative or complex projects where skills can't be isolated, the copycat method is useful. This involves finding a popular example of the niche you're working on and emulating it as closely as possible. This helps you identify the components of the skill and practice them until you've mastered them. Drilling and direct practice go hand in hand when it comes to ultralearning. By diving directly into your project, identifying weaknesses, and drilling your skills, you'll be able to complete more direct practice until you find your next area of weakness. This method will help you overcome plateaus and achieve better results in your ultralearning journey. Idea 5. Retrieval. Actively recalling information to improve retention and understanding. Learning a new skill can be challenging and frustrating, but it is also an opportunity for growth and development. Struggling is a natural part of the learning process and can actually be a good thing. It shows that you are actively engaging with the material and are more likely to remember and retain it in the long run. Simply reviewing the material before a test is not enough for long-term retention. Instead, actively recalling information is key. This may be difficult in the short term, but it will pay off in the long run. Effective strategies for recalling information include using flashcards, free recall, and asking questions instead of taking notes. In addition to these strategies, creating a challenge for yourself to practice later is an effective way to target your skills and recall specific information that applies to your long-term goals. Embrace the struggle and use it as an opportunity to grow and develop your skills. With persistence and practice, you can master any skill you set your mind to. Idea 6. Feedback. Receiving feedback and adjusting your approach to improve learning. Do you want to know if you are making progress in your learning? Receiving feedback is an important step towards achieving your goals. Feedback helps you identify areas of improvement and can distinguish between different types of feedback. By pushing yourself to the limits, you can get the most useful and constructive feedback. There are 3 types of feedback: outcome, informative, and corrective. Outcome feedback is the simplest form, which determines whether or not you have reached the desired outcome. However, it is not the most constructive form of feedback. Informative feedback is a more constructive form of feedback that can highlight areas you need to improve and work on. By isolating your mistakes, you can use this feedback to improve your skills. The best and most constructive form of feedback is corrective feedback. It involves having a mentor or teacher who can give you quality tips and help you work on your weaknesses. Corrective feedback is far more useful than any other form of feedback because it helps you focus on the areas you need to improve the most. Feedback from peers and self-reflection are essential in achieving your ultralearning project goal. By continually adjusting your methods and improving your skills, you can make significant progress towards your learning goals. Idea 7. Retention. Strategies to maintain and reinforce knowledge over time. Remembering specific events and things that happened in the past can be difficult over time, as our memory naturally decays. However, there are effective memorization techniques that can be used to help us remember important information, especially for ultralearners who need to retain knowledge for their projects. One way to incorporate a memorization strategy that works is to settle on a technique and incorporate it at regular intervals. It's important to avoid cramming memorization techniques since this hardly produces effective results. Instead, try to use a spaced repetition system, SRS, which is a great way to test your knowledge by chunking information in a randomized manner. For procedural memorization, repetition is key. Completing a procedure repeatedly can help automate the process, making it easier to remember and perform. It's also important to prepare for memory loss by repeating skills at regular intervals to remember them effectively. The best way to avoid forgetting necessary information over time is to use an SRS or flashcards to help retain knowledge. By implementing these techniques, you can recall information efficiently and achieve your ultra-learning goals more effectively. Idea 8. Intuition. Developing an intuitive understanding of the skill through practice. Intuition may seem like an innate ability, but it can be learned through deliberate practice and experience. By focusing on the fundamentals, embracing difficulty, and seeking to understand the experts in your field, you can develop a deeper understanding of your subject and cultivate your intuition. Begin by mastering the basics of your subject. Without a solid foundation, it's impossible to develop a deep understanding of the more complex aspects of your field. This means taking the time to study and understand the core principles and concepts. When faced with difficult problems, embrace the challenge rather than avoiding it. Struggling through difficult problems is one of the most effective ways to learn and develop your intuition. Don't be tempted to take shortcuts or opt for easy solutions. Instead, set a timer and give yourself time to struggle through the problem. Even if you don't solve it right away, the experience will help you retain the information and ultimately lead to a deeper understanding. Seek out experts in your field and learn from their processes and techniques. Rather than simply following their lead, explore their methods and try to figure things out for yourself. Recreate their experiments and try to understand their results. By engaging with the experts in your field, you'll gain insights and knowledge that can't be found in textbooks or online resources. Finally, don't be afraid to ask questions and explore new ideas. By challenging yourself and pushing beyond your comfort zone, you'll be able to develop a deep intuition and understanding of your subject. With time and practice, you'll be able to instinctively understand your field of study and become an expert in your own right. Idea 9. Experimentation. Trying new methods and strategies to improve learning. Ultralearning requires constant experimentation to achieve success. By finding what works for you through trial and error, you can accelerate your learning process and achieve your goals. Walt Disney is a prime example of someone who failed before succeeding. He was once fired for lacking imaginative ideas, but by ignoring doubt and working tirelessly, he became one of the most creative individuals in his field. One technique that can help you in your ultra-learning journey is copying then creating. This involves following someone else's example and building on those same skills. Once you have mastered the basics, you can experiment and find what works for you. Comparing methods or trying something completely new can push your boundaries and accelerate your learning. Experimenting also involves evaluating the resources you use and figuring out your next steps. After using a resource for a certain amount of time, evaluate if it's the best one for you. If not, experiment with new resources. When figuring out your next step, try new things and find new avenues to complete it. This will help you build on your knowledge and fill any gaps that may exist. Even if you don't succeed at first, it's important to never give up. Each attempt provides an opportunity to learn and grow. By experimenting and trying new things, you will ultimately achieve success in your ultra-learning project. Remember, finding what works for you requires constant experimentation, and by pushing your boundaries, you can achieve your goals. Summary. If you're interested in adopting an aggressive, self-directed learning style to master a new skill, ultralearning may be right for you. Before you begin, there are a few key concepts to keep in mind. First, do your research. Plan and decide on a skill that aligns with your personal or professional goals. Interview an expert in your field to gain insight into what skills are most valuable. Determine the specific knowledge you need to acquire and set clear goals for yourself. Once you've planned your project, schedule time in your calendar to complete it. Create a reasonable timeline and set a deadline for yourself. Stick to your schedule as much as possible and adjust it as necessary. Finally, remember that you're always a student. Adopt a growth mindset and continue to learn throughout your life. Ultralearning may not work for everyone, but there are always new ways to learn and better yourself. By elevating your quality of life, you can achieve more than just acquiring a new skill. You can acquire satisfaction in yourself and ultimately achieve lifelong happiness. Now, thank you for taking the time to watch, and if you found value in this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. And in case you want to buy the book, use the link in the description. Trust me, you won't regret it.